Okay, welcome everybody to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. That's me, and you guys know the rap here. And if you don't, if you're new, that's cool. Welcome. Hopefully, you guys have some fun. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. You guys make the show. This show, as much as it is for me to, promote, show my art, let you guys know what's going on. This is mostly for you guys. So, just want to throw it out there how this works. For those of you that are new. I will be working on a comic book page, as you can see, or whatever else I'll be working on. Today, it's just going to be the standard. And we're mostly probably going to be working on these 3 panels here because they're kind of fun to draw. And they're all just faces. It's pretty easy stuff. And we'll go over some of the stuff in there. But that's just what I'll be doing. If you guys have a comment or a question that you'd like me to answer, please, by all means, just post it right into the chat and I'll address it. And don't be shy. I can guarantee if you've got a question, somebody else has got a similar question. If I can help, I'll do my best, and hopefully it helps you out. And all I would ask from you is please just post a question in all capitals. And that way I can see it easier after the rambling's done and all that. So let me just get a new page set up here so that I can draw all the stuff for you fun guys. Alright. Holy diver. Damn it, now I got that song in my head. Alright, so Robson Inc. has a question in the chat. It's shortcut to drawing ab muscles. This is something Will and we talked about before. We just want to ask it in the chat so you guys can see it. We're just kind of going over ribs and not the ribs, but the muscle that's in there. So I'll draw real quick. So if we're looking at like a 3/4 ribulicure muscle bone thing, right there would be your collarbone. How you doing? And you get your hippies down there. Right here is about your chest. You don't need to know all this stuff for the muscle that I'm going to show you guys, but I just need it in there just to show you one more time why I need this here. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, a real quick trick is once you have your collarbone in here, you can actually just kind of like, if you can see this egg shape that the ribs are, like it goes like this. It's following that shape. If you follow that curve from the outside point of the collarbone here, usually it'll lead you to your nippular muscles, and they're actually kind of important for this thing here. Okay, so what you do next is think again of this shape, this egg shape. I'll just draw it in there for you like that. Okay, now if you were ribs, that's one thing. What we're trying to do is draw imaginary ribs wrapping around like this, because the cylinder is actually kind of tilted down. And once you have those, really all you need to do is again follow this line right here. See this line that I'm making? That's the line you're following. And just put that guide in there, and you're going to do the same here. You're probably not going to see anything over here, but what you're going to get are these really cool intersecting points here. And this is where you can start going like this. Put a little lump there, and then like that. And bang, presto, every time. If you really want to get bony, you can get in like that, and you're done. What I would recommend doing is, after you start to understand that, is just kind of seeing where these are, and then you can kind of get some interesting shapes here. Like, there's a lot of different styles for people that draw these kinds. Your best bet is to look at reference for that, but that's usually how I'll do that stuff for fun. So just do another one here. Maybe it's Spider-Man web slinging, who knows. Let's clean some of this up here. Okay, so again, you're just wrapping the ribs. It's like you're drawing the most simplest ribs you can. Collarbone. You can like eyeball where the nipple should be too. The idea is this line here, the inside cavity of the rib, is what you're looking for, because that's the line you're going to put there. And from there, especially when there's a stretch like this happening, these puppies, they really start to pop out. So yeah, So hopefully that helped you guys out. Let me know if it didn't, if you're still a little confused there, Will. All right. Let me just lower this one, get the comic page back. All right. So we got some really expressive faces going on here. This one up here of the standard, the superhero, what I want to do is just tighten that one up. And what I need first is just the reference. The superhero here, he's gotten beat to all hell in the previous issue. And now he's starting to fight the bad guy. And what I need, however, at the end of the last issue, this hero here got knocked out of a building. And he got all beat up. So what I need is his face. Because his face is all kinds of messed up. And there's not much time between these two issues. So here, I'll show you guys real quick if I can zoom in here. So let's see if I can. So this is the poor guy's face up at the top. It's all bandaged up. He's got the swollen cheek, all that fun stuff. But that's the information I need for his face. And his costume's all beat up, and he's just not doing too hot. Let me get the chat over there. Cool. Alright, so let's make sure I got my layering right here. Let's turn that blue. And we're just going to, make sure that the layer above it's right. Yep, okay. Alright, so he's clearly really upset. So I want to try to draw as best I can is his mouth and his jaw is really getting clenched here. Just going to put in some rough gestures where I would like to do a little bit of rendering. Putting some gums. I guess I'm folding the teeth, kind of coming in like this. Hopefully to make it look a little more dynamic. Show his gums. His lips. He's got all these bruised, snapped up faces. Justin's asking, is there a way to add pages without making a whole new document in Manga Studio 5? Manga Studio 5. Okay, just give me 1 second here. Just have to load that up. Alright, our good old friend Manga Studio 5. Alright, so file, new. I think it's story we can do here, right? Preset? No. Multiple pages? Sure. Hopefully I don't have to save this, do I? I do, okay. Alright, let me just save it to the desktop here so I can delete it later and call it delete me. Alright, okay. Let's see what we get. Creating pages. So Manga Studio 5, it's a little bit different of a workflow. This is the EX version that I have, and I'm hoping, Justin, that this is what you have as well. If it is the same, I'm not sure. I'm just going to check here. In Manga Studio 4, it's very easy to add pages in your story viewer here. I'm assuming story, page manager, page layout. Usually if you click somewhere, let's see if we can go and add page. There you go, add page. Let's see if it pops it in there. I have no idea if it did or not. Yep, it did. Okay, so all you got to do there, Justin, is I don't know. I have nothing drawn in here, so I can't tell. But once you have pages here, you can just click and drag them to somewhere else. But all you need to do is just select where you'd like the page. Again, I don't know if it puts the page in front or behind it, wherever you clicked last. But just make sure wherever you click, and then just go up to Story, and then right there it'll say Add Page. And you can just put a new page there. If you got a page from another project, apparently you can import a page as well. Combining pages, that'll make your double page spreads. All that cool stuff. Okay? So let me just close so I can get some computer speed back. Hopefully that helps you out there, buddy. Dan's asking, hey John, having some trouble drawing the inner part of the thigh. They always come out as sort of flat compared to other artists. I know all the muscles and where they connect, but I just don't know how artists get around simplified shape. Is there a layer of fat or something? Okay, and Drew brought up something. Looks like my audio is a little laggy. So let me know if you guys can't hear what I'm saying. Because when I talk, then I can see in the settings that it starts moving. So maybe it's a little bit of lag. As long as you guys can hear me, that's cool. But let's draw the leg here. Okay, so let's just quickly go over some of the fundamentals of the leg real quick. I'm just going to draw a really quick underwear. And we're going to put a bowl in it. This is where your abs would fit in. And you got like 3 little love handle muscles that'll be over there. Anyway, and your censored bar would go here. Okay. So if we do like the Andrew Loomis method, he would draw these little like points that would come out here that would be like a disc, which would be your hip. And it would come down into your leg, get a nice curve on there. We don't need all that. What I'm going to show you here is how I like to look at it, especially on the front, is it curves in into the knee like this. And then we just go straight up. I don't really worry about the inside stuff on an inside shot. Again, I'll go really quickly over some other, I guess, more complicated legs. And then here you can, some people, they like to draw a lot of teardrops or football shapes, they'll call it, to put the muscles in. It does work. I would recommend it if you feel lost in anything, or if some of the muscles aren't making sense to you. I like to just skip that step. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just like to get a little bit more, I guess, whatever it feels like at the time. But I would recommend sticking as close to the human skeletal structure and stuff as you can. Don't jump right into like what I'm doing there. So to answer your question, like if you have an actual picture scanned or something that I can look at, by all means put it in the chat and I can bring it up and draw over it. But to get rid of the flat look, let's see if we can draw like a leg kind of coming at us here. So I would draw it similar to that. We'll put like the leg back here and we'll just move the guy's crouching, if you guys can visualize that. So I'll structure in where the knee would go. Now I think of it in like 3 planes. I'll actually stick to the football shapes because I think it'll be a little easier to illustrate that. Right on the top, and I'm just going to do a quick anatomy thing for you here. Right over the top is where your biggest most muscle would be, and it connects right into the knee. And forgive me if I don't know everything 100% about this stuff, especially the names of anatomy and muscles. I do not know them. I just try to remember how they roughly look. Then here you got like this big guy that curves into here, and this one actually sits up higher. Okay, so all of this here would just be continuation of your calf muscle. And I'll clean this up so you can see it. Right here, this is what I want to show you. This is probably the most important part for me when I do this stuff. Let me just get real dark with that. It's this line right here. This is where I get the most energy out of a leg. Okay? Because what I just put the X in, that's the inside of the leg that I'm not really too worried about. So if we just draw where his crotch would be, since we have all that, this kind of just curves in. And don't do this. Don't start putting lines down like that. That'll flatten it out like nobody's business. You always remember that you're not dealing with football shapes, okay? Even though that's what we're using, you're dealing with a cylinder, so it actually looks like this. But the next step is it's not just a round shape. All of this area here would not follow this circular path at all, okay? What it would really look like would be like this. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of draw over the muscles that we've got going on here. Okay, so you see what's happening here? So if I were to like render this or put a shadow here, That's the way the shadow is falling in here. This is all actually caving in on the inside. Alright? So even though you've got your tendon muscles and stuff, all of that wraps in down there. Let's see if I can do another quick one for you. Maybe we can have somebody, I don't know. I don't know what position this is. Maybe they're doing like a weird dance. It's like the splits without doing the splits. So if you had this action here, again, your love handles will go there. Okay, so remember you got your top muscle here. This is the big boy. This is the big one. And this one here goes on the inside. And that's the line we're most worried about. That's the most energy. For me, anyway. Now the next step here is there's a muscle that dips back here, okay? Which connects into your bum. But all in here is, it's like, how do I word what that is? Again, this is probably why I should study the proper names so I can articulate things. But it depends how you like to draw. I know this, it's probably really bad advice, but just take it with a grain of salt. You should definitely learn anatomy from an anatomy book in real life, but when style comes in, eventually you start to forget this stuff, and that's sort of what I'm doing right now. But you start to pick up on cliff notes. So instead of, like, I know this is the shape, so what I would do is I would just start kind of gesturing in where those tendons would be, okay? Which is really bad advice, because this isn't how it would normally look, but this is how I personally do it now, which, you know, I need to continue doing anatomy studies and all that stuff, but that's besides the point. Research what goes on inside there. It's basically the same as if you were to draw an arm. Alright, just bear with me here. I'm going to draw it real primitive here. Okay, so that's our shoulder. That's our bicep. The bicep comes in and pops out and goes back out, okay? And then we all know it kind of comes out here and goes into all this like funky bone stuff, which is your forearm. And then you've got your tricep that comes out, okay? Now all in that armpit. That's where it starts to go, uh-oh. Like, what's in there? Some people will just start throwing lines. Some people will do like a curve line. You know? Research what goes on here. There's a lot happening. What I'm getting at is this armpit, to me, when I think about this stuff, is the same thing as inside. It's like the armpit of the hip, I guess. What's that under the front muscles? I didn't know it caved in. I thought the background. If you actually, if you're by yourself, knock yourself out. If you're not, and you might want to do this later, go ahead. Pull your pants down, okay, and just run your hand, run your hand over your thighs. Okay, it's a cylinder. It should be, unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger and you can just flex. Regardless, if you flex, you can feel the inside starts to straighten out a bit. Okay. And the next time you're using the washroom, or if you're in the shower, as gross as this might sound, and maybe you know, inappropriate as it may sound, you're your best model if you can, okay? So when next time you're in the shower, do some sumo squats like this person here, and just look at how your body, look at what dips in, look at what pops out, okay? See what's going on with yourself, because that's probably the easiest way. Then the next thing you can do is obviously look at anatomical reference and legit stuff, as opposed to doing exactly the horrible instructions that I'm giving you, apparently. Let's see if there's just one more quick leg we can do here. Let's see if we got, what would we do here? Maybe we can draw somebody from the back here. We'll do a quick butt shot. Alright, so I'll start off with kind of like the gesture, and then I'll put this little line in here that you saw. That's just to stop where the thigh would kind of go. That's where the curve would be for the cylinder, thinking of it like that. Let's just put some feet in there. I'm mostly just worried about the thigh here. Alright, so let me just kind of work in those baseball shapes here. Okay, so we got our calf, which is very much like a tricep. You got these little like tendon guys that pop up, they go into like the bicep of your leg. Okay, so let's try to see if we can figure out this area right in here, this meat. So I mean, in a situation like this, where you've got so much from the back here, let's get this guy in here. This guy's got like horse thighs. Just trying to think of the baseball shapes here for you guys. It's a little harder to see here. What is that? I would argue that area is roughly flat. Hopefully we're talking about the same area. I know there's a little bit of back and forth. Hopefully, yeah, again, that the inside stuff. But anyway, let me know if that even helped you. If it didn't, sorry. The only advice I could leave you with would be to continue drawing like you're normally doing, like all of us are doing, hopefully. And set aside time to do anatomy. It'll help you. You never know when you need to draw that kind of stuff. And like Will's saying, this guy never skips leg day. And if you are somebody that works out, that's advice that you need to listen to too. Never ever skip leg day. Look how big you could do it right now. Take your hand and put it at the bottom or at the top of your knee, and your other hand at the top of your hip. Look how big that muscle is. Okay, that's like half of your body. That's like your torso, and your torso sits on your knee, and then your torso sits on that muscle. You know, it's a huge muscle to just not do. So do it. Lift it big. All right, let's get these angry noses going. So I'm trying to figure out a way. I don't know if it's just in Manga Studio 4. Excuse me, or in 5 as well, especially probably 5, but to figure out a way to get better pencils going on. I'm trying to find a way that my pencils can be mimicked, or my art just look better in ink. And you know, outside of me just inking more, which is something I'll have to do regardless, but I feel like when I can draw with a pencil, my art is much better than it is with an ink. And I don't know if it's just because of, like, if you look at here, there's a lot of sketchy lines going on, which tends to give itself more life just based on that alone. But you know, like, I'll look at other cats and the way they draw, and you know, there's a lot of different styles. So trying to find a way to do line weights and stuff so that when I ink, it looks better. Really trying to flare this, make it look crazy, ready to snap. Okay, so what do we got there? Rob Snake is asking, so the trap muscles, what's the shortcut from looking from above? As in like Wolverine crouching down and you see the top of his traps. And Drew, I guess, is struggling with the pencil tool as well, I think. Who's bringing it up? Alright, let me just save this up here, and then we will do the traps. Okay, so what I like to do, let's pretend we're drawing Wolverine here. Yeah, look at that! Look at these lines. Whenever I do a circle, look at all the lines it's thrown in there. That's how you know your computer's lagging out, boys. All right, so right here, this oval, this right here is his head. The oval behind it would be the torso, but I also like to think of it as the traps as well. And I know that's a lot of trap action, but if I got a character like Wolverine crouching, I usually explode his shoulders and traps. To me, there's certain characters like the Hulk. I remember reading in a bodybuilding magazine, and I would definitely recommend just reading bodybuilding stuff if you like drawing superheroes, just because of there's certain things that they talk about that I think is something that us storytellers should be aware of. You know how you can draw a symbol, like if you draw, or if you in a movie you see a gun, those are things that symbolize something. They represent something, right? If you see somebody take a gun off of a shelf, and then the next image you see is somebody take a sword off of a shelf, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but usually you would probably look at whoever took the gun off as uh-oh, right? But if somebody took the sword off, you might be like, what's about to happen? Like, there's an interest there, you know? So in knowing that, there are certain things that carry out through anatomy. And the one thing I remember about reading in a bodybuilding magazine was they were talking about Mr. Olympia and who's this and that. And the one guy was like, well, look how big those shoulders are. And he was talking about one of the contestants. And everybody agreed that the one muscle on your body that could be huge, massive, disgustingly unproportioned to your body and still make your body always look good is huge shoulders. So knowing that, whenever I do a guy like Wolverine or the Hulk, these guys are just power, you know, like just huge mothers. Or somebody that just needs to be like maybe you're just drawing a regular guy, a farmer, and maybe he's just wearing overalls and he's just been, you know, lugging milk around all day. If you gave him giant shoulders, like he instantly looks cool. So look at all like your big superheroes, like Superman. He's usually, well, Superman, I don't know, it depends on how people draw him, but I like him with big shoulders. It gives him like a broader chest, you know. It also stretches it out. So saying all that stuff, that's where I was going with this. So we got the crouch, got the feet. Doesn't really matter where the feet are going. I tried to think about where the collarbone is. The collarbone for me helps big time. Since right here is where the middle part would be, where right in the middle of your throat, we're probably not going to see it because of Wolverine's face. The bones still shoot out, you know, and if you need to draw them real simple, go ahead. Think of it like a bow. That's what a lot of people talk about with it, and it makes a lot of sense. If you've got those points, you're pretty much set. The first part of your trap, I think anyway, starts here. And then the other part pinches behind it, and this is where like your shoulder blades would go, okay? So let's just try to figure out where the neck would be. I know this is a lot of complication, and I apologize because there's a lot of thinking going on here. This is a very complicated shot to do. It might not look it when we're done, but just trying to place things. So he's probably going to have a neck muscle coming here. Now, once I know this neck muscle, because if you look at, like, if we draw behind somebody, let me just draw their head, and you'd have their ear. Okay, so their neck muscle, and I'm going to butcher this to hell, but it makes sense to me, which is probably wrong. But this is the muscle we're going for. This is the trap, okay? So this connects in the back of the head, right? So by me drawing this neck part, this is what I'm looking for, to see where this line is, right there, that big sausage. That big, wow, that that huge sausage. Let's go looking for sausages, guys. So now that I have that, I can wrap my muscle in there, but now I can pop it right into the start. And if you know this gesture line where you're putting on trying to find the center of this, that's where you can pop out that muscle right there. And I like to really shoot these out when we're doing these giant or these big characters that are like hunching forward and stuff like that. And I mean, depending on where you're going to go with the shoulders and stuff, like your character's going to change the way they look. But and then your pecs are going to be really flared out. Let me just draw the rest of the face here, and then I'll clean it up so you guys can see it. And I'm not going for like the best drawing here. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of instruction on that. Okay, so let's get whoever this guy's face is, Wolverine, whoever you want. We'll put a little mask on him. This is where you can put like the vein muscles, you know, when you're like clenching your jaw, they pop out. So, something like that. Yeah, I will let you know, Justin. For those of you that don't know, Justin and I, we were talking quickly on Facebook, and he was telling me about how the schedule is kind of funky. What I'm looking at doing was, what I was trying to get with the show is getting a routine down so that every Wednesday I can do this for you guys, unless there's some, you know, I can't make it for whatever reason. There's nothing I can do about that. However, Wednesdays are looking good. So what I'm trying to do now is see if I can move this as well to put on an additional show on like Saturday, at least maybe once a month. And in order to get this going much better, I need to look at a way that you guys can probably go to my website or something, and I can put up like a schedule, you know, so you guys can see when certain shows are. So in case we do get Sunday shows or Saturday shows, all that fun stuff. Awesome. As long as you get it. So again, it looks like there's a few more people in the chat room. Wow, this whole hour, seriously? We've only got 15 minutes left. This whole hour has flown by. Awesome. Okay, so again, for the new people in the room, the show's for you. So if you guys got any comments or questions about drawing, or you'd like a little help on something, by all means, just put it in capitals in the chat, and I will do my best to help you out. All right, so we're going to rip the hell out of his costume here. This poor guy. Hopefully he looks shocked enough, like he looks angry, maybe a little crazed. Now this is the fun part. This eye over here is all swollen shut. This is my favorite part to draw on him. It's just all like cauliflowered. It looks like somebody with huge lips just like blowing a kiss, if you can kind of see it. See if I can turn it off. Can you see that? Little kiss. Blow a little kiss. And we're going to bring in this whole plane right here to the eye socket. And we'll shoot the jaw out. Puff all this out. That doesn't work. Nope, doesn't work. What does he have? Oh, he's got it's a bandage here too. I want my MTV. Okay, Cloud is asking. I just want to say thanks for all the vids. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. August. Agus? How do I get rid of the feeling that none of my drawings are worth to put in a portfolio? Dangerous question. That's a dangerous question. I have a quick and dirty answer. And the reason I got it so quick is I heard somebody say this to me, or no, not to me, sorry, it was on a podcast. And I wish when I was younger I knew about it. And what it is it's like, it kind of addresses like, when do you know when a piece or a picture or a comic page or whatever you're doing is done? When you know it's done? And the answer these guys had, and it's kind of like aggressive, but I like it. That's your job. That's you as an artist. That's your job to know when a page is done. Now the reason I bring that up is I feel like that kind of addresses your question there, and maybe not a so rough way, but how do I get rid of the feeling that none of my drawings are worth to put in your portfolio? That's on you, and you know that because you just said that. That's why when you give somebody your portfolio, it's your best piece, right? Like if you don't feel confident and comfortable with it, then it shouldn't be in there. And if you don't feel like any of the stuff in your portfolio is worth it, then just keep working. Just learn. Ask yourself why. Why aren't any of these things making me feel comfortable? Why aren't they making me feel confident? Why am I not, when I look at all my work or whatever I have in my portfolio, when I look at it, why do I feel like this is garbage? What's missing? You know, be the worst asshole you can be to yourself. I believe that quite a bit, because if you can be your harshest critic and your greatest supporter too, don't just beat the hell out of yourself, but support and pump yourself up. But in order to get to I find myself anyway, in order to get to the root of a problem, no matter how long it's going to take you to solve it, it could take your whole life to figure out and solve a problem. But you need to be very real and aggressive with yourself and try to figure out, you know, like just say pretend in your mind, we'll just use Marvel and DC for example, okay? Just say you are Marvel and you are hiring, and you bring your portfolio to yourself. Would you hire yourself? And if the answer is no, well, why? You know, you're not just going to go, no, you're shit, get out, move on. You're going to tell them, well, your anatomy needs to be fixed and stuff. But the one thing, like, you're always going to be working on anatomy. I'm just using that as an example. You're always going to be working on anatomy for the rest of your life. Hopefully you can figure out ways to get better and faster at it. But you need to compare yourself to the people that are already getting work, right? You have to be real. You have to be honest. Just because you want it right now doesn't mean you're going to get it. Doesn't mean necessarily that you don't deserve it. You know, you might be putting in a crap ton amount of hours and work and all that stuff, but you just might not be ready. And if you're not ready, you can't get upset. You just have to be have fun with it. Yes, you want your life to change in a certain way right now. That's great, and I hope you can. But if you're not ready, give yourself the time to get ready. There's no rush. The world might be ending, in which case this all doesn't even really matter, but you know, I'm sure that's not the case for a lot of us. And if it is, let's say you're in a very shitty situation right now where, you know, maybe you're living off instant noodles or hot dogs or something, you know, you have a really crappy time right now. Do what you need to, I guess, to, you know, get better. The fact that, I'm not saying you come here to get better, but ask around online. Role model yourself after people. That's one of the things I always like to do, is look at people that are successful in a certain area, whether it's drawing or whatever, and just kind of mimic what they do. Whether it's, hey, how often do you draw? If they say they draw 8 hours a day, you might not be able to draw 8 hours a day. But if you can draw up to 8 hours a day, try it. See what happens. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? The fact that you draw more? That sucks. But I feel like I'm just rambling with you here. How do you get rid of the feeling that none of your drawings are worth to put in a portfolio? I guess I would just end up with saying, you just need to continue. You know what's funny? This is like the one answer that fixes everything, I find. There's no shortcut to it. It fixes every single art question you'll ever have in your life. No matter what skill level you're at, none of it matters. But this one thing will always work. It's just draw more. That's it. If you can draw more, everything will get fixed. So if your anatomy sucks, draw more. If your storytelling sucks, you don't have a job, you're 50 years old and you still haven't gotten it, draw more. But always remember as well, share what you're drawing. Ask questions. Always be a student. Always be a student. As long as you're a student and you're asking questions, you know, it should at least put you on the track to what you're doing is right or wrong for you. And it might take you 50 years to figure out that, yeah, comics or drawing, it's not for you. That's not what you want to do. But you'll never know until you get far enough and those questions start showing up where you can actually ask them in an honest manner. Robson was saying, I recommend to keep drawing and draw every day, and eventually you'll draw the book that we're doing right now. Cloud saying, show your work and get professional feedback. Always do that. If you can ever show your stuff to a air quotes here, professional or something, do it. The worst they're going to say is, get out of my face. The best they're going to say is, your anatomy sucks. All right? And they should be able to, as long as they can see it, you should be able to see it too. Right? And as long as you're working towards that, you should be good. Yeah, and he's saying, yep, look at that. So hopefully that answered your question there. Seemed a little long-winded, but we got 5 minutes left, guys. So any final questions, if you want, just jam them in. Put them into the old chat box there. Actually, no, I lied to you. We've got 15 minutes. I forgot that I started this a little earlier. Sweet. All right, we got more time than I thought. Hey, Zelda. You want to go catch? There you go. Oh, you big stinks. All right. So let's get back to this guy. Let's see what else we had. All right, we got his cape over here. Rip her out. Did you get it, Zelda? Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Okay, you want to go through it and fetch it again? Here you go. Okay, shortcut for a fist coming at you. All right. Let's see what we can do for a fist. Good job, Zelda. 1 second. Sorry, my cat wants me to play fetch with her. Best time, isn't it? Oh, there you go. Hey, good kitty cat. Oh, you want to get your mousers? Here you go. Alright. Okay, so a fist coming at us. I guess the easiest way would be, a lot of people draw it like this too. They'll do like this box shape like that. Kind of looks like a house. But the idea is, if you have a rectangle, it shouldn't be in the middle. It should be more over here, the top of your house, okay? So as you can see, mine is wrong, so we'll erase it. That's better. Good job. You got to bring it over here. I can't get over there. My headset can't reach. My headset can't reach, ma'am. Alright, so what this point represents is a knuckle. So I like to just break it down like that. These will be where your fingers are going. If you start putting these curves in there, it just makes it look fun. Gives a little bit more energy. And then you can put your thumb here. Again, this is like, I think, the standard thumb that a lot of people draw. And then that would be the thumb behind it. If you're thinking about it from the side here, that's your wrist. I'm going to duck it down. Whoops, got the wrong fingers there. So knuckle, another knuckle, wrap it in here, and then the bottom of our thumb would go there. Okay, so this would be our ankle, and our forearm is going like that. So our, did I say ankle? Wrist bone. Our wrist would be right here. So I like to shoot the forearm off to the side like this, and then over here probably like insinuate that there's a elbow there. You can go ahead and just do like a quick line here to like maybe give it more shape. I don't even know if this is gonna help you here, Will. But and then you just go in there and just do your little style of how you like to draw. And you can look at like basically any artist, and pretty much all of them, they'll do this thing here. I'll show you. Just draw our fingers. On this finger alone, they always like wrap it up, like it's popping out at us. And if you look at your own fist, it usually does happen, but it just, I don't know, it always felt weird that this was the only one that did that. But smarter people than me are drawing. So let's draw that. You can connect that to the bone over there if you wanted to. Like that, I guess. Hopefully that helped you out there, man. Lilac, John, who are some of the people who inspire you or that you tend to look to for help? Honestly, I look to, this gonna sound so cheese fast, but I look to people like yourself. Will, we talk online. Robson Inc. in the chat, we talk online. I like, and don't take offense to this, normal people looking at my stuff just as much as I like, air quotes here again, professionals looking at my stuff, because there's an honesty that comes there. You know, there's something about having regular people that might not necessarily you guys, but let's just say friends or family or anybody that maybe doesn't draw, when they look at your stuff and they just say, oh, it's great, but every now and then you get that gem where they would say something like, it looks kind of not good, and they might not be able to describe why, but they might also say something like, oh, I don't know, if that shadow feels weird, and they could be totally wrong, right? They could be totally wrong, but at the same time they might be right, and sometimes there's an honesty to that. But outside of that, who inspires me? I talk about Doug TenNapel all the time. I just love the fact that he cranks out so many graphic novels a year. It's something I would love to be able to do one day. Who else inspires me? Just trying to think. Like who I don't want to say who my favorite artists are and stuff, because that's not really the question. There's not too many people in the art field that inspire me, to be honest. It's mostly people outside of art that get me excited, and it's a lot of like self-help stuff, to be honest with you. There is I know a lot of people might not like him, Alex Jones, totally unrelated to all this stuff, but a lot of the stuff he talks about made me think about things differently. Take that as you will. But he inspires the hell out of me. Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of his quotes and videos, they inspire me. Tony Robbins, he does a lot of like believe in yourself kind of stuff, and you know, I don't get too into that stuff, but I do enjoy it. Who else? What else we got? I forget her name. She's a vegan. And I watched a video she had made, and it made me change the way I look at life as well. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, which is cool. But yeah, it's a lot of people that aren't really art related that inspire me, to be honest with you. Ooh, actually, there's one person outside of Doug TenNapel that's an artist that really inspires me. Ian McCaig, and I just got reintroduced to his stuff again. The biggest thing that I know of, that most of you guys will probably know that who he is he's the lead concept artist for a lot of things like Star Wars. He came up with Darth Maul, like how he looks and stuff, and he has a lot of really Gnomon Workshop, I believe it's called, DVDs and stuff, and I have one, and I was just rewatching it the other night, and it was just like, wow, just such an inspirational guy. Let me just see what you guys say on there. So Joe Mad is not an inspiration. I don't know. I love Joe Mad's art. I love what he did with Battle Chasers when I was a kid. His style, every time I look at it, just blows me away. But I don't know if I would consider him an inspiration. I just know I'm a huge fan. Maybe I'm just getting them all mixed up here. I'm just calling it whatever I feel like calling it. Yeah, if you can finish, it's true. The dreaded deadlines. Alright. I guess we could tighten this skull dude down here. I don't even know if I told you guys what this was for. This is for the standard. I'm pretty sure I've told you that before, but this is issue 6, the last issue. I'm doing half of the artwork on this guy, and Mr. Robson Inc. in the chat, Will Robson, he's doing the other half, and he's actually also doing the last half. I believe it's a half of issue 5. So you guys can check that out. Sure, I'll post it all up once the books actually start coming out. The last 2 anyway. Let me just flip this over. Alright, so one reason to flip your I tell you guys this too, I recommend it, continually flip your work, because right away I can see, even though I just drew this, the perspective on it was off. It was too high. When I flip it back, yeah, it looks better. But if you keep flipping your work, even if you just work with like a pencil or actual like real ink as well, grab like a mirror. Go to the dollar store, go wherever you need to go, and go into the ladies' health and beauty section for the ladies and grab one of those, a mirror that you can hold. Better if you can actually prop it on your table and tilt it. Not only can you get, like, you know, do facial expressions and hands. I believe it's an animator's trick. Not quite sure where I remember hearing it, but I believe it's an animator's trick, but you can start to see things there. You know, use yourself as reference. But the other beautiful part too is if you put it up to the side of your art and you just kind of hold it there, it'll flip the image so you can see it differently, and all the errors that are there that you might not be able to see really pop out. And here this guy is kind of a weird character. He's like basically skeletal in his face, and I'm trying to get expression out of it. So in order to do that, I really need to play with this area right here where it's the part of the skull that would sink in, and go from there. So and this is one of the beauties of rendering too, is you can actually start adding lines to things that normally wouldn't have them. So if this is a skull, it's not going to have anger lines in it, right? But with rendering, you get to make that call. You get to make that choice. What are you doing, Zelda? She apparently wants to sleep in my envelope pile. That's great. Hey John, can I send you a link to my portfolio next time for to have a look-see? Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Do you need my email, or did you want to send it over Facebook? Facebook. Okay, if we're not friends on Facebook or whatever, just go to my website, jonathanrector.com, if you're not there already, and then just on the right hand side of the menu, There's a link that says Facebook. I believe it's only to my fan page though. So that's the case. Here. I'm just going to put my email in the chat. You can just email that if it's easier for you. Oops. It's just my name at hotmail.com. Alright, so what you doing? Alright, so oh, you got it here as well? Alright, we're gonna go over, I guess, a minute or two here. And we're just gonna go over that, over your portfolio. If you don't mind, put it online, share it with everybody. So let me just save this guy. Alright, this doesn't work. Copy. I think I forgot. What did you? Alright, let's try it. Okay. Claudio. Let's take a look at the portfolio. Alright, right away, I will just say this drawing here stood out big time. We got some real sweet. Oh, I love all this. This is really good. I'm just going to start here. And I apologize if I don't know how to navigate your website. Okay, so let's just start clicking through. Okay, let me just back out real quick. There's one thing I'm noticing, at least with these two pictures, and we'll see once we go through, but like this is the easiest one to tell that it's a Mike Mignola style, and I know the kind of cover, like that looks like something Hellboy would wear. So I'm not accusing you of anything because, you know, that's all cool. But this one also looks like a, what is his name? Damn it. He always draws that, Frank Cho, that's his name. And he draws a lot of this girl with this Amazon thing. Again, I don't know if any of this stuff is there, but that's the vibe I'm getting there. So I'm just going to go through it. Like especially with the eyes and stuff. That's awesome. So I'm assuming this is you digitally inking, or is this traditional? Yeah, I already like that one. Traditional, okay. I like to see the concept art stuff, that's really slick. That's really good. So here's the thing that I don't okay, so what are you looking out to get out of this portfolio review? You just want me to like point out things that I don't like? Is it just, are you trying to get a concept art job, a comic book job? Because the first thing I see right away is that, like, this page alone, it looks like it's out of a sketchbook, obviously, but it looks like you're jumping around. Like, I've seen this hand right here. I know this is from Andrew Loomis. All of this stuff here looks like Loomis. possibly Bridgman, could be wrong, but which is all great. It's all study. But this stuff looks radically different than like this, right? Like this is clearly looks like you're trying to take somebody else's style and learn it. But if this was my portfolio, I wouldn't have any of this stuff in here at all. Again, it depends what you're going for, right? Like this picture here is just awesome, awesome. Again, awesome, phenomenal. Studies really, really sweet. So what I'm trying to find here, this actually starts to look like what is his name? Damn it. He does a lot of really detailed work. Starts with a D. Damn it. Anybody that's out there that can help me out to be sweet. He did Shaolin Cowboy. God. Darrow. Thank you, my man. That's what this looks like. Jeff Darrow. I don't know if you looked at his for reference of legs and stuff. If you did, I mean, he's a phenomenal guy to check out. But that's what that reminds me of there. So what I'm saying is, I like to see your style, which this is what it looks like is your style, this kind of stuff here. And again, I don't know if the concept art stuff that you had earlier is the same as all this stuff. But I like to see your own style. I don't want to see studies. Again, I can't get you work. I can't look at this and say, "Oh, hell yeah, talk to this guy, you're going to get comic work or something," right? I guess the only thing I could say is if you are looking for work, the only recommendation I guess I would have, how do I get back to your main page here, is to, so I don't know how to go back. Home, there we go. Would be to, if you want to do comic book work, then just do a comic book portfolio. So I know a lot of people, they have a comic book portfolio, a concept art portfolio, but like you see you have here portfolio, and then you have it here. This is great. And I apologize because I didn't see this stuff here. So you do have this, which is awesome. Okay, so I want to see. Let's go into penciled sequentials. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You are lost with style, but that's okay. As long like it looks like you are drawing quite a bit, so that's good. Storytelling's clean. This is one thing I struggle with too, and it looks like you are as well, is drawing characters at extreme proportions, and like right here, they're so far back that this character here looks out of place compared to her, and they don't look like they flow. See, like this is one thing here. Again, it's style, so just take this all with some salt. Is if you have these two characters behind the panel, like they're in the panel, and then something in the distance is breaking the panel, you just flattened something that could have been a lot deeper. You know, if these characters were popping out instead, this would have looked better. Or just erase this part here and it's fine. But you know, they're complicated poses, right? When you start doing stuff like that. So even myself, I still struggle with that. This page is fucking sweet. I will ask you one thing. Are you looking at other people's panels when you decide your panels? Or is this all you just coming up with your own stuff? And there's no shame in asking one or the other. And the other thing too, are these scattered, like this page here was a year ago, and the next page is 5 years ago. Where have I seen this? I've seen this somewhere. Okay. I have seen this page somewhere and I don't know where. I don't know if you'd posted it somewhere before or if this was like a sample script. This looks very familiar. You know what this looks like actually? I know, okay, I know exactly where this is from. This is from... Is it? Let me just... Let me check something here. I just want to make sure. I'm not accusing you of swiping or anything. That's not what I'm doing. You probably just had like the same script, but I could have swore I've seen this page, and then I was thinking the Freddie E. Williams guide to digitally drawing comics. It's a different one. But anyway, it just looks very familiar. But it looks like the pacing and the storytelling, like this is awesome art. All in here is this. You can draw tech very well, expressions very well, the faces very well. So in a shot like this, I see what you're doing with them flying away. You probably, and this is just for whatever, but this middle panel here where you have just the tail end of the helicopter, you probably could just erase that, still keep the splash, and then still have this over here. Just because it looks weird because you have this entire background which is all the exact same, and then you have the helicopter here, then the helicopter here, but then all of a sudden it just disappears, and then there's this open shot over here. That's just, again, just a style thing. And I like how you're incorporating the speech bubbles already. That's awesome. That's good stuff. Going over those boobies. I like it. Alright, here we go. Now we're getting to the Frank Joe. You know who else your faces look like? I don't know if you look at Steve McNiven. Oh god, she's a zombie. That's sweet. No, you're like your sequentials. They, to me anyway, they look awesome. There's some things here and there. Steve McNiven, I think. Here, I'll type his name. You might like his stuff. It looks like. Actually, here. I keep forgetting that you guys can see what's going on here. Steve McNiven. I think he did. What the hell was that Marvel and DC? Or no, that Marvel thing. Damn it. Civil War. He did that. He does some really cool angles, but his faces, they kind of. I'm not saying yours look like his or anything like that, but he does a lot of shots, and by shots I mean like comic panels, like how it looks like you do a little bit. Let's see if I can look at this one. View image. Just like these kinds of shots, this looks kind of like your stuff, which is good. But yeah, I'll type it in here so you can check it out. Steve McNiven, and it looks clear. Only thing that was a little off for me, if I had to just give you something to take away with this, besides it all looks awesome, is that your figures were great when they weren't doing anything. Meaning, if they were just standing around or if they were like crawling on the ground, that's fine. But when they started interacting with each other, they started to feel disjointed a bit. But other than that, your expressions looked awesome. They're clear. Yeah. But there was one other thing I wanted to check out from your stuff, because I'm always a fan of this stuff here. It's digital. It's digital stuff. Oh yeah. Now we're getting into the juicy colors. So like, what do you want to do? Are you just looking for work? Are you already working with somebody? Are you just trying to find work, or what are you doing? This is my kind of stuff here. I love this. The creativity in this stuff, guys. Like, comics are awesome, but like concept art and digital paintings, sometimes it's just like, it's too good. Like, look at that. That's fucking awesome. Okay, you really want to do comics then? Okay. The only recommendation I would have is make a Marvel or DC or DC portfolio. Go to conventions when they're doing portfolio reviews and see what happens. Other than that, start doing your own comics. Start trying to get like your own books out there. Because that way it'll just build volume. You'll be continually drawing pages and working at it. Just like I'm assuming you did with your digital paintings. It took a while to just draw this kind of stuff. And then here's the magic question. How old are you? If I had to guess, I'm going to say you are 24. Let's see if I'm even close. Watch you even be. Are you gonna be younger? Oh, you are. You're an oldie like me then. Okay. I'm 31 myself. So what are you at? What are you at? But other than that, no. This is sweet work, dude. I wish I could give you some other advice other than just keep hammering at it and doing your best to, show it around. And you must have heard it from other people as well. Doing your own work is probably the best. And I'm finally going to be able to start that myself. I've tried to get into Marvel, tried to get into DC. Still nothing. Image, all the good stuff. Like I'm sure everybody tries to do. I've still yet to get in myself. However, the standard will be wrapping up by the end of next month for me, so I get to finally jump into my own stuff too. So I would recommend you try that, as well as get portfolios prepared for any local conventions that you can get to. So if you can spend $500 or less to go to a convention, if you can, I would definitely think of it as an investment and just get a portfolio ready. That's just pure comics. Don't worry about a cover. Don't do covers. Just do sequential pages featuring their characters. I would recommend. Again, I'm not in with the big guys, so I can't give any actual proper advice. So No, yeah, no, it was awesome. Thank you for sharing it with me. I enjoyed it. I hope everybody else in the chat enjoyed it. The other thing too, check out. It looks like you were doing a little bit, but look into composition. That's one thing that I'm really getting my teeth sinking my teeth into now is composition, because composition to me now, you can have awesome anatomy and things like that, but composition really helps even people that might not be able to draw extravagant anatomy and stuff. But composition is and everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about composition. But check out that book, Framed Ink, that I recommended. You know, download it any way you can, just to see if it's your bag, and then, you know, throw money at them if you want to support them and stuff. But I highly recommend that book, so give that a shot. Yeah, so anyway, thank you guys so much. I know this one went on a little longer than normal, but that's cool. So hopefully I can see you guys here next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you got into the chat a little bit late, just look at the time right now and subtract about an hour and 20 minutes from that, and that's when we start next Wednesday. Okay? So take care, you guys. Keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll talk to you soon.